The morning after Amara stormed out of Madame Abimbola's living room, the air around the staff quarters was heavy. The compound still shimmered with its quiet wealth, the flowers still bloomed by the walkway, and the fountain still bubbled like nothing had happened. But inside Amara's chest, a storm raged. She swept the tiny sitting room with quick, angry strokes, her lips pressed tight. Every time she remembered Madame's words, "We can pay him off to walk away," her eyes burned with fresh tears. How could a woman she respected try to buy her like a loaf of bread? How could she reduce love to a transaction, as if loyalty had a price tag? Femi had gone out early, leaving her alone with her thoughts. She wished he were here. She wished she could bury her face in his chest and cry until her heart lightened. But she also knew she needed to be strong. She had promised him she would stand by him, and she would. When she finally finished cleaning, she entered the bedroom, and then she froze. On the small wooden table by the corner sat bundles of money, neatly wrapped, stacked like little towers, more money than she had ever seen in her life. Her breath caught, her knees weakened. "Femi?" she whispered, though the room was empty. The door creaked and he stepped in, calm, almost too calm. His eyes searched hers before resting on the money. "My love," he said gently, "sit with me." Amara's hands trembled as she obeyed. Her eyes stayed fixed on the bundles. "Talk to me, Femi. What is all this?" He smiled faintly. "I've been saving this, little by little, from jobs here and there. My dream was to use it to start a business one day." Amara blinked rapidly. "Business?" "Yes, but when I saw the kind of woman you are, when I saw how you rejected wealth and chose love, I told myself, this woman deserves everything. Amara, I want you to take this money and use it for your education." Her mouth fell open. "Education?" "Yes, you've spoken of it many times. Your dream is to go to university. Use this money, Amara. Fulfill your dream." Tears blurred her vision. "No," she whispered, shaking her head. "I'm serious." "And I am serious too," she burst out, standing. Her voice trembled with passion. "Never, Femi. Never. This is your sweat, your blood, your dream. You saved this for a business, not for me to swallow it in school fees. I love you too much to let you throw it away." Femi stood, shocked. "Amara?" "No," she interrupted, tears streaming now. "If we are to build a life, we build it together. Let's rent a small room outside this place. Let's start a shop. You will run it. I will help you cook. I will help you manage. When it grows, then I will go to school." Step by step, she gripped his hands firmly. "I don't want to stay here anymore, not with Madame and Daniel treating us like that. I want peace, even if it is small. Let it be ours." Femi stared at her, his chest rising and falling. Then slowly, a smile broke through, soft and reverent. "Amara," he whispered, "you are not just beautiful. You are wise. You are everything I prayed for." She smiled through her tears. "And you are the only man I want." They held each other tightly, their hearts beating in rhythm. That night, their kiss was not born of lust, but of unity, trust, and defiance against a world that tried to break them. The next day, Amara woke early. She swept, cleaned, cooked, but her heart remained heavy from the confrontation with Madame. She knew things were not finished. She knew there would be consequences. A knock on the door made her start. When she opened it, she gasped. Standing there were Madame Abimbola and Daniel. "Good morning, my daughter," Madame said softly. "Please, Amara," Daniel added, his voice unusually serious. Amara hesitated but stepped aside. They entered the small sitting room, sitting stiffly on the couch. "Amara," Madame began, her eyes gentle, "we came to apologize. For everything, for what my son said, For what I said too. You were wrong. Daniel lowered his head. I was foolish. Pride blinded me. I see it now. Femi is lucky. You are a real wife. Madame nodded. Yes, rare women like you are not easy to find. You are special. We called you our wife yesterday, and we meant it. You are our wife. Amara's eyes softened slightly. She sighed. Thank you, Ma. I'm not angry anymore. I forgive you. Relief swept across Madame's face. She smiled. Good. Then know this. You are my son's wife. Amara frowned. Your son. Yes, Madame said, smiling cryptically. Don't worry, my dear. You will understand soon. They rose, hugged her lightly, and left. Amara stood by the door long after they were gone, confusion clouding her mind. Your son's wife? What do they mean? That evening, when Femi returned, Amara pounced on him immediately. Where have you been since morning? She demanded. He looked at her, tired but calm. My love, there's something I need to tell you. Her eyes narrowed. What now? He took her hands and looked directly into her eyes. Amara, I'm sorry. Sorry for lying to you. Her heart skipped. Lying? About what? He sat her down slowly. Daniel is not just Madame's son. He's my younger brother. And Madame Abimbola. She's not just my boss. She's my mother. Amara gasped, her hands flying to her mouth. What? Yes, Femi said quietly. I'm sorry. I didn't plan to lie forever. I just needed to know if someone could love me for me, not for my background or money. I've been heartbroken before. Women pretending to love me, only to chase after my wealth. So I hid the truth. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. So all this while, yes, he whispered. She stared at him, shocked. You went far, Femi. You shouldn't have done that, I know. You have every right to be angry. Please forgive me. Silence hung in the room. Then, slowly, Amara's lips curved into a teasing smile. Fine. I forgive you, but you owe me. He blinked. Owe you what? A car and a mansion. For lying to me, Femi threw his head back and laughed, pulling her into his arms. That's nothing, my queen. Consider it done. She laughed too, tears mixing with joy. I love you, Femi. And I love you even more. Dr. Amara to be. They kissed, long and deep. The weight of secrets lifted at last. The news spread faster than Harmattan fire. The so-called poor security man was in fact Femi Adebayo, heir to one of Lagos's wealthiest families. In Umuchiez, when Amara's father Isaac heard, he almost choked on his palm wine. His face turned red as pepper. He snatched his phone and called her immediately. My daughter, please forgive me, he begged, his voice trembling. I was blind. I didn't know God had blessed you like this, Amara's face hardened. With all due respect, sir, never. I forgive you, but I want nothing to do with you and your wicked wife. I suffered too much under your roof. If you ever need help for something important, you may call, but not for nonsense. And take care of your miserable wife. She ended the call, tears of anger and relief mixing. Then she lifted her face to the sky. Thank you, Jesus, for bringing Femi into my life. Years later, the scene had changed. Amara walked across a grand university stage, her white coat gleaming. The hall thundered with applause. She was now Dr. Amara Adebayo. In the crowd, Femi stood, his voice the loudest. That's my wife, my queen. After the ceremony, he hugged her so tightly she almost couldn't breathe. I am so proud of you, my love. She smiled, tears of joy streaming. Thank you for believing in me. No, he whispered back. Thank you for believing in me. One peaceful afternoon, Femi drove her quietly through a gated estate. They stopped before a massive white mansion with golden gates. Amara looked around, confused. Why are we here? Femi smiled, pulling out keys. This is your mansion, my queen. Her mouth fell open. Femi, stop playing. I promised you a car and a mansion. Here they are. She screamed, laughing and crying at once, hugging him. But then she stepped back, her face glowing. I also have good news. What is it? He asked eagerly. She placed his hand on her stomach, tears in her eyes. I went for a test last week. I am 3 months pregnant. For a moment, Femi stood frozen. Then he shouted with joy, lifting her off the ground and spinning her. Glory to God, my queen, we are going to have a baby. He knelt, kissing her stomach. My baby, Daddy loves you already. Amara's smile trembled with emotion. From being rejected to becoming royalty, her story had come full circle. Truly, she whispered, my name is Amara, and my life is glory. The day Amara told Femi she was pregnant, the world around them seemed to shift. The mansion's golden gates, the trimmed hedges, the luxury cars parked in the driveway, all of it faded into the background compared to the miracle growing inside her. Femi could not stop smiling. Every morning before leaving for work, he would kneel and place his ear against her stomach. My baby, he would whisper, Daddy is here. Daddy will protect you. Daddy will never fail you. Amara would laugh softly, running her fingers through his hair. But in the quiet of the night, when he was asleep, she would lay her hands on her belly and whisper prayers. Lord, let this child know only love, no hunger, no rejection, no pain like I knew. Let this child's name be written with joy, not tears. Her eyes would fill with gratitude. For once in her life, the future looked brighter than the past. But peace, no matter how sweet, is never without its shadows. News of Amara's new life had spread like wildfire through Umuchizi. The girl once despised had become a woman celebrated across Lagos. Her father, Isaac, who had once exchanged her for unpaid farm labor, was now the butt of village gossip. See how God works, people whispered under mango trees. The man who sold his daughter is now begging for her favor. Some shook their heads with pity. Others laughed openly. Isaac's shame grew heavier with each passing day. Palm wine no longer numbed the sting of regret. His wife, Onkem, whose tongue had once been sharp against Amara, now sat bitterly in their hut, muttering, if I had known, I would have treated her better. We would have been eating from her table by now, but the door had closed. Amara had made it clear they were not welcome to feast on blessings they had tried to bury. Months rolled by, and Amara's belly blossomed. She glowed with the grace of motherhood, her once thin frame filling with new strength. Femi was restless with excitement. He prepared everything: a nursery painted with warm colors, tiny clothes folded neatly in drawers, a crib carved from the finest wood. The night labor pains began. He nearly lost his mind. Calm down, daddy to be, the doctor said with a smile. Your wife is strong. Femi paced the hospital corridor, muttering prayers, his hands shaking. Hours felt like years. Then at dawn, the cry of a baby pierced the air. He rushed in, his eyes wide with tears. It's a girl, the nurse said, placing the tiny bundle into his arms. Femi's heart melted. He stared at the little face, the small fingers curled tight. My princess, he whispered, voice breaking. Welcome to the world. Amara, weak but smiling, looked on. What shall we name her? Femi sat gently by the bed, his eyes never leaving the child. We shall name her Chinaza, for indeed God answers prayers. Amara's tears rolled freely. Yes, God answered us as the years unfolded. Amara's life became a testimony. She balanced motherhood with ambition, determined to build a legacy not just for herself, but for Chinaza and the generations to come. She went back to university, this time not on scraps or borrowed coins, but with dignity. She excelled in her studies, driven by a hunger not for revenge but for redemption. Every graduation cap she wore was more than fabric. It was a crown replacing the ashes of her childhood. Femi too built his dream. The small business idea he once saved for now grew into a thriving enterprise, supported by Amara's wisdom. Together, they opened shops, invested wisely, and created opportunities for others. Their home became a haven, not just for their daughter, but for many they chose to help. Orphans received scholarships, widows found work in their enterprises, struggling families were given food and dignity. We will never forget where we came from, Amara often said, her voice firm. Because if God lifted us from dust, we must help others rise too. But destiny is not complete until one confronts the past. Years later, Amara returned to Umuchies for the first time since she left. This time, she did not arrive barefoot or with a Ghana must go bag. She arrived in a convoy of cars, with Femi by her side and Chinaza skipping happily between them. The villagers gathered, their mouths agape. Children pointed, whispering, "That's Amara Nwosu, the one they said was nothing." Amara's father, Isaac, stumbled out of his hut. Older now, his hair grey, his back bent, his voice trembled as he fell to his knees. "My daughter," he wept, "forgive me. I was blind. I was wicked. Please, don't leave me in shame." Amara's eyes softened, but her voice remained steady. "Papa, I forgave you long ago, but forgiveness does not mean forgetting. I will not bring you into my home, for you made it a prison once. But I will not let you die in hunger either. I will make sure you eat, even if we never share the same table." She handed him a bag of food and money, then turned away. The villagers murmured in awe. See how she turned pain into power. See how she overcame years, rolled into decades. Amara rose in her profession, eventually opening her own hospital. Patients from across Nigeria came to see Dr. Amara Adebayo, the woman whose compassion matched a skill. Femi stood proudly by her side, her rock, her encourager, her shield. Chinaza grew into a brilliant young woman, inheriting her mother's fire and her father's humility. At her hospital's inauguration, Amara stood before a crowd of dignitaries, villagers, family, and friends. Her voice carried across the hall. "I was once called useless. I was once given away like salt. But see what God has done. He turned rejection into royalty. He turned pain into purpose. He turned ashes into crowns." The hall erupted in applause. Femi's eyes shone with tears. Chinasa clapped proudly, her face radiant. That evening, as the sun dipped low and Lagos lights flickered alive, Amara sat with her family on the balcony of their mansion. She looked at Femi, her first miracle. She looked at Chinaza, her second, and she smiled, her heart at peace. "From Umuchezi to Lagos," she whispered, "from dust to destiny, from being thrown away to being crowned. Truly, my name is Amara, and my life is glory." Dear viewers, what lessons did you take from Amara's journey? Did you see how rejection cannot stop destiny? How loyalty, love, and faith can build a crown from ashes? If this story inspired you, please help us grow this channel by sharing this video, giving it a thumbs up, and leaving a comment below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so more people can discover powerful stories like this one. Thank you for watching and stay blessed.